What's up, everybody? This is the NerdCave News, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined along with in the wastelands of poisons with noxious fumes. Under the great Rulfar Mountain lives the great High Goblin King. He and his hordes of goblins party all night and day, filling the underground kingdom with their flatulence. The goblins wonder why the land above is abandoned and no one visits, but their gases wreak havoc on the lands above. The flatulent ruler is none other than High Goblin King Gilgamesh.
Oh, okay. First off, I feel attacked because, you're targeting my gassiness with this name. But, also, Gilgamesh is a real name because he's in a little there's a little anime called Fate Zero, or the Fate series. That's like the Holy Grail War. And in the first show, Fate Zero, Gilgamesh is one of the archetypes, like warriors that comes to fight, and they call him the King of Kings. So yeah, that's the name redeems the personal attack. But nonetheless, for those of you, I like high kings and gods of destruction and all that stuff. So I feel like this has to be okay. Let me see. There's the Great Wizard, there's Maxwell Minereach Stone, and there's Felix Brewster as the top three. I feel like this has to be the new number 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, only because I like the name Gilgamesh.
Okay. So, it's also, Gilgamesh is based off an ancient tale.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from the Bible. It's like from a different, ancient culture. Right. I had to read it in college and everything, but it's literally the first known written story. And it's very interesting. It's kind of boring in some places, but it has some good stuff in there. Good. But he's kind of like a Samson in a way, where he's like super strong and all of that. But he's like a leader and all that good stuff. Well,
so it was, and you made mentions like you read it in college. That's all we did, Zach. We read. We
read at Troy University, everyone.
Even at science class, we read.
We read, guys. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Welcome to the stream. If you're watching on the replay, let us know how you're doing down in the comments below. And as we're live, y'all tell us how you are doing. Derek, how you been doing? Before we get into my favorite section of the show, how's everything been going?
Everything's been going pretty well. So, just at the work grind. It's been, post Easter has been a little less stressful. You know what I mean? Like, we got inventory in less than a month, so we got to ramp up for that. But at least it's no major holiday we have to worry about anytime soon.
Well, there you go.
Did you get Final Flashed by the eclipse?
I did not get Final Flash. It was super cloudy here. Yeah. But we went outside and we were looking. I got to see a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of underwhelming. I'll just say that.
Well, we weren't at the right, saturation point. So I mean, it was okay. I think the closest in our region was in Tennessee, which is got the best view. So
yeah.
I do like how we did. We sent each other anime things revolving around, because you sent me this one kid timed it perfectly. It was domain expansion, infinite darkness, and then mine was mine was a little bit, tongue in cheek. It was when you take off the kid's eclipse glasses, and then say Final Flash.
I loved it though. I loved it. Joe said he got a total eclipse. Total eclipse of the heart.
Nice.
It was a little creepy at dusk. Here, it was it got darker. You could tell something was going on, but it was super cloudy. So which was kind of good because none of us had had sunglasses or anything. So we were staring at the sun. And I was y'all are dumb.
It's like dodo birds.
Yeah. Like I'd wait for like a cloud to like go in front of it, and then I'd take a little peek at it, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But it looked like a big toenail clipping up in the
Yeah.
sky.
Though I do wish I did like the themed food events that they did have around the eclipse, because I know Krispy
Mm,
Kreme did like eclipse donuts, which was like
yep.
chocolate cream and then put an Oreo on top, and
Oh.
then Sonic had a eclipse shake, that looked pretty good. So didn't
Mm,
partake in either of them because by the time I got off, it was late, and I'm just like, I don't feel like going, because the nearest
yeah.
Sonic for me is like 5 miles away.
Ooh.
So, and I'm
That's a
just like, I don't
drive.
feel like right. And I'm just like, I don't feel like driving all the way in Montgomery traffic.
See, you
Um,
got spoiled living in Troy because it was
yeah,
literally right down the road.
correct. Yeah, I was literally right around the corner from my house.
Yeah.
So, but now, I'm not saying no. But I wanted to partake in those foods, but alas, I didn't. So, and it's weird because Krispy Kreme. I wonder what places sold the Eclipse donuts, because we get Krispy Kreme vendor
Hmm.
coming in like daily. So I'm surprised we didn't get any for our table.
There was probably limited amounts at,
Probably.
and so it's like making sure the actual Krispy Kreme has them and everything. But speaking of donuts, my lovely wife bought me donuts, like 4 of them for the weekend, and they're
Oh.
for a particular donut shop in town. And I've been jonesing for them, and she got
Hmm.
me 4 of them. So I had one on Friday night, I had 2 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. So
Balanced.
no, that would have been 5. I had 1 on Friday night, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. So that makes 4. I can
Hmm.
count. But yeah, it was very delicious.
Good.
Love them. Good chocolate glazed donut.
Mm.
That's like if I can have a donut, that is where I tend to go, is chocolate glazed, then
Yeah.
glazed. I don't do that filled donut crap.
Yeah.
None of that. To get that out of here. And cake donuts, trash. Don't bring me any of that Tim Hortons crap. Don't bring me any what is that other one? Dunkin' Donuts. Don't bring me none of that.
Yeah.
I don't want none of that. I'd rather starve.
Yeah.
Amy's like, I'll take that as a hint to get them again. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to the show. We're going to move into our next section. What you playing, Derek?
So
What you been playing?
after I got chastised last week, I
You've been
decided to.
chastised for weeks, okay? So don't even be like, oh yeah, but
For weeks, I came back last week.
Derek, I talk crap about you when you're here and when you're not here. All right, so you
You
should know
know,
that you've been chastised the whole time.
now you lost a little bit of my respect, because at least say it to my face. Like,
I'll
don't,
say it to your face.
don't say it when I'm not here. You gotta wait for when I'm
Okay,
on
I'll
camera.
just start taking a video and be like, Derek, you suck, and just send it to you. How about that? How about
That
is
that
that
that works. That's fine with
okay?
me.
All right, cool.
So, but
Problem
no,
solved.
after I got chastised last week, I decided to play some Hogwarts Legacy. So, um, I still like. I've done a few story missions. Like I did the mission with Deke, learned how
Mm,
to catch creatures in the game.
yep.
And then I did met up over there in Iron. I want to say Irondale. I don't think that's correct. It's way off to the left. It's where you meet the old Fight Club boy from Slytherin, and you learn about his family, like his what's wrong with his sister, that his
Okay.
uncle that's kind of just a jerk to him about
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation, about trying to find a cure for her and everything. So I'm kind of there. And then I went to a astrology class, and
Mm-hmm.
then of course that unlocked a new little side quest, well, not side quest, but like collectible stuff.
Yeah.
So, which is super simple. Like it's just like, hey, just align the telescope and that's it. But I've been going around collecting stuff, like as stuff pops up, just finding it. The, the only thing I get it, but I don't, but it's like popping the balloons. Like that's the only thing. It's like, just why are there random groups of balloons just hovering in the air? You know what I mean? Like,
Are you talking about like flying on the broom and all of that?
yeah, I'm popping them.
So that's for like races.
Right. And I know it has its benefits, but like, just in the world, like just exploring, and it's like, all right, you got to, for every 5 balloons you pop, that's a little check mark. Uh,
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. The
Yeah.
only time I remembered it was the races, but yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just another collectathon thing.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
it's filling up the game with that kind of stuff.
But I'm in the 30 for
Okay.
levels. So like I'm way overpowered because it's like my next story mission's like level 17, and I'm just like, bro,
Yeah,
like
I
this
don't
is
even know if I'm that high leveled. Um,
so. Oh, trust me, there was a couple times where I just went and just explored the world and did side stuff. Like I didn't even do like the story for like a couple plays.
mm,
So,
okay.
but I'm trying to mix more story in. Um,
Yeah.
it's still fascinating. Like the more places I go to, and the more of the map I unlock, is just like this is a pretty detailed world they did. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
but you know, for being what hundreds of like at least what 100+ years before the events of Harry Potter, it kind of looks the same. You know, like aesthetic
Yeah.
wise. So, granted, there is some older stuff that you didn't see that was in Harry Potter, but it's like just the feel of it is just like this feels like it could fit in with the Harry Potter like modern day stuff.
Yeah, well, and like the wizarding world doesn't really like get new technology. Like it
True.
stays very static.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of to their detriment.
Hmm.
Because if they mix like muggle stuff with wizarding stuff, like they
Hmm.
would be so overpowered, even more
True.
than they are. But
So what you're
yeah.
saying is the wizards are Amish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Murdoch, who needs new tech when you have magic? That's a good
correct.
point. It's a good point.
I mean, why use cars when you have blue flames?
Yeah. But then you get the flying car and it
That's
saves
also
you
true.
in the woods from Aragog.
Yeah.
It's like if that car wasn't there.
True.
Just saying. Well, I'm
So
glad you've been playing though. Like
yeah.
it's always a good thing to hear when you've played. Um,
Just in general.
just in general, it's like Derek actually plays games, guys. It's a rare thing, but Derek does
No,
actually
it's
play
not.
games.
I've been pretty good this year, let's be fair.
3 weeks is a long time.
Out of 4 months, bite me.
I'm sure, guys, y'all go sleuth and see how many episodes Derek has actually played this year so far on the show. He's actually showed up to the show and he's actually said it.
They're gonna reel in your favor anyway, because there's been several weeks where I've been gone. Like I
I
know I
said when
was
you've been here. When
okay.
you've been
Okay,
here.
that's
So
fair.
that's what I'm saying. When he's been here, y'all go look and see. Y'all go
Because I
look
know
and
you,
see.
just like your E3 predictions, you like to twist and turn them in your favor here.
I don't have to twist and turn this one. I don't have
Proof's
to
in the
twist.
pudding.
Yeah, proof's in the pudding, man. Dan says, why not have a magic flying car that comes with Bluetooth?
Mm,
That is a good idea. It's like you should have Bluetooth in your cars at this point. Just saying. Like Bluetooth is great.
yeah,
Now, I've been playing 2 games,
no
Princess
one
Peach
cares.
Showtime and Sea of Stars. Princess
Mhm.
Peach, I played on stream, and some of the bosses have actually been a little bit of challenging.
Oh,
I feel like it's because they don't tell you a lot. It's
mm,
just kind of like
figure out.
minimal, and it's like you're kind of figuring it out. Like it's not technically difficult. It's just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm supposed to do this, like that sort of deal.
Yeah.
But I'm still enjoying it. I got the kung fu outfit last
Ooh,
night, and so my favorites are the ninja outfit still, then kung
right.
fu, and then there's like Mighty Peach or whatever, where
Hmm.
she's kind of like Iron Man essentially.
Oh,
Um, that one was pretty fun as well. But those are probably my top 3.
hmm.
Um, I've got at least 1 or 2 more floors to explore and everything.
Okay. Is there anything? Because I know they've done a bunch. They did a bunch of coverage and showed off a bunch of the costumes or whatever. Leading up to the release. Have there been any that have not been shown that you're like, oh, this is cool, or just like, oh, okay, I didn't know about this going in type deal, or has it all been like stuff that you know?
It's all been like they covered it pretty well. Like they
Yeah.
didn't like there's no surprise. I forgot about like the superhero one, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh yeah, I remember this being talked about. But I'm enjoying the game. I do think for $60, the game is overpriced. At
That's
this
fair.
point, $40, this game would have been rocking
Yeah.
for $40. But for 60, it definitely is a little expensive for what it is. But again, it is fun to play. The level design is really, really solid, which I'm enjoying a ton. The second game that I've been playing is Sea of Stars, and I don't talk about this every week, but I am literally at the end of the game. I am about to start the last boss battle, which I will probably do this weekend and finish the game. But it was like, hey, you're about to do the last boss battle. You want to make sure you do anything else, you know, that sort of deal.
Get your gear, your level, you know, your side missions in order. Like, do everything now, because once you enter it, you're not going. And you know, some of these RPG final bosses, like it's not like your typical like game where it's like, all right, the final mission is going to be an hour. It's like, no, this is going to be like 2 hours before you finish the game.
Well, and like the boss battles take a long time, and like especially like with RPGs, but in this game they take a good bit because there's like multiple tiers to it and all of that. So I can only imagine what is going to happen because I know we at least have to fight 2 people. If not more, in this, like the main boss, and then there's somebody below the main boss and everything. But I'm enjoying Sea of Stars. It's on Game Pass. I talk about it almost every week. Y'all need to go check it out. The music is amazing. Combat is great. So once I finish Sea of Stars, I've got to find something to play, like on my own. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but the thoughts that I have might play Last of Us Part 2. Because I haven't played it. Control, haven't played it. Alan Wake 2.
Ooh,
I don't know. So those are possibly it. Murdoch is saying Helldivers. Like, I'm going to play more Helldivers, but I need people to play with, because every time I play, no one is online, and I play with randos, and I don't want to play with randos.
But those are the best.
Yeah. Nate is saying Ni no Kuni. Is it similar? Like, is it like RPG? I vaguely remember.
It's a JRPG.
Okay.
It's like all right. Second one was a different gameplay style. Like it was still an RPG, but like the mechanics were different. But the first one is pretty much like a Pokemon clone.
Okay. I might do Octopath Traveler.
Oh gosh,
I've heard that's really good.
It is, but I know some of them boss fights, man. Like, what was it when the first one came out? They said there was the boss fight they were showing off was like 45 minutes. I'm like, bruh.
that's kind of where some of the boss fights in Sea of Stars is.
Oh,
so yeah, okay, maybe I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but that's a possibility.
Octopath is really good. Like, especially like, you get 8 different story paths that you can do, and some of them do converge. Yeah, because I mean, you get to pick from 8 different characters. They're all different archetypes, which means they have different abilities, and that way, you know, they all have their own different unique backgrounds. They do come together in certain times, but you know, like, and the nice thing is like if you wanted to start like a new story, like say you got to a point with the characters, like now I want to see what the swordsman is about or whatever archetype there is, and now you can pause that and then start the swordsman story, but then still go back to those, you know.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. So it is, and it's like Square Enix, which is like, and this is like good Square Enix. Like these are the people that did like I think the old school Final Fantasy turn-based games, or like maybe it was the Final Fantasy Tactics team. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it was the Tactics team.
Yeah. So very well thought out battle system.
Or should I do Final Fantasy VII remake and then go into Rebirth?
Oh, bro, that'll be. We'll see you play a different game in August.
Well, there's a game coming out in August, so
Yeah, that's true.
well, let's jump into it. This week in gaming, Xbox looks forward to the future. Ubisoft bets on Star Wars, and PlayStation rethinks console exclusives. This episode is brought to you by the Epic Game Store, where you can go support us by using creator code NerdCave at checkout. Also, Coffee Brain Coffee and our wonderful patrons, but more about that later. Let's jump into the gaming discussion. First up, Xbox moving full speed ahead on the next-gen console.
So Xbox is fully committed to the development of their next-gen console, aiming to deliver an unprecedented technological leap. An internal email from Xbox President Sarah Bond confirms the company's dedication to pushing forward with their next-gen hardware. Microsoft has formed a game preservation team, emphasizing the importance of preserving gaming history and ensuring backward compatibility for future generations. While specific details about the hardware and release date are still under wraps, leaked documents suggest an expected launch in 2028, which would be around the time that normal life cycles end. Xbox's focus extends beyond the future. They also value the past and present, emphasizing their commitment to preserving and bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games. Game preservation is crucial, especially for current generation titles at risk due to online requirements and digital formats. With Microsoft prioritizing the development of their next-gen console, it's likely to be available sooner rather than later, giving gamers something to look forward to. So I have two thoughts on this. Well, or like just two different schools of thought. One, it is weird that they're already we're barely halfway through this console life cycle with the PS5 and Series X and S, and they're already looking forward to next gen, and we haven't even technically gotten console refreshes yet. Like, yes, we got the PS5 Slim this past fall, and I know there's been leaked stuff about Xbox doing a discless Series X version, in a white color that may be coming out soon. But we don't know. That I know PS5 Pro rumors are hot and heavy lately, so you can kind of maybe chalk that up for this fall. Xbox, we don't know yet. So it's weird that they're already talking about next gen. Like I get it there, because I know there's been all this speculation with their focus on Game Pass. Yeah. About how it's like, oh, are they still even going to do consoles like down the road? Are they still committed to doing hardware? And I think this is them getting ahead and being like, hey, we are already thinking about the next gen. But also this raises the question is, because I know there was some speculation late last year about some specs that might be leading toward a refresh for Xbox. But I'm also wondering, it's like, will they even worry about doing a mid-gen refresh at this point, or are they just going to be like, you know what, the console we have is good enough, like it's compact, it's got a 1 terabyte hard drive, we probably can just focus on putting out next gen instead of having to halt production, make a mid-gen refresh, and then focus on the next console?
Well, Sarah Bond, during the podcast thing that Matt Booty and Phil Spencer did, they had mentioned something about a release that it was later this year, which sounded like a console refresh.
Okay.
And we've also seen the discless Xbox Series X in white. So it's like we're getting hints and rumors that we're probably going to get one, because usually how like the refresh, like in the middle of the generation cycle works, is they found a way to make the consoles for cheaper. The parts are a little bit more, they're not necessarily worse, but they are cheaper to get, because they found a ways to get around certain limitations that they had earlier on, because this has been several years. Right. So I think that's why a lot of these console manufacturers do that, because it's like, hey, we can cut the cost here, we can keep it the same price, and people see this as a new thing. Same thing with PlayStation with the Slims. A lot of people are like, oh, I really like the design of this. It's literally the same thing. It's not anything more impressive power wise, but then you do get the PlayStation 5 Pro, just like you went and got the PlayStation 4 Pro, which was a super cool looking one because it was the God of War bundle and everything. So I think Derek's froze on me, guys. I don't know. Yeah, he's gone. So we've got a lot of different things to go off of on that. And it's pretty interesting that they're moving forward with it all. But, you know, when it all comes down to it, 2028 is 4 years from now. It makes sense because we constantly get new consoles. Gone are the days of getting a 10-year cycle, which was how it used to be. And now we get a much shorter, compact thing, but it goes to the point of a lot of developers saying we haven't even talking about the PlayStation 5 specifically, we haven't even gotten the most out of the console. So y'all let me know, what do you think about this new console for, you know, Xbox and everything? Do you think 2028 is too soon for a new console? Because I feel like a lot of people have just started getting the PlayStation 5, started getting the Xbox Series X and everything. Derek's Wi-Fi went out and everything. So I feel like a lot of people are in that boat. And I know I definitely was for a while. So it just kind of stinks. Joe says a refresh is just a way for them to make more money. Of course, they wouldn't miss it. Also, not having one when your computer does, not having one when your competitor does would be devastating. Yeah, I feel that. You know, it's like, hey, this is the new fresh thing, and you know, it's like you want the more powerful version. It's just like graphics cards. We constantly get new graphics cards and everything. Dan says definitely too soon. I feel like it's too soon as well. Like 2029, maybe. I don't know. Like, I feel like we haven't even hit the pinnacle of what games can be on the current consoles. Games look great and everything, but I feel like loading times can be better. Like, yes, I know ray tracing and all of that is getting better and better, but it's like loading times can get better, textures can always get better, hair can get better, water can get better. And it's like, it's not just like the graphic fidelity and everything. It's like, what kind of improvements can we make in storytelling? What kind of improvements can we do with just gameplay loops? Because so many times we get games that, like Princess Peach is fun, but it feels like it was games, it's like several different games kind of jammed into one. And that's Nintendo, and Nintendo usually is pretty good about getting games like that are fresh and have new innovative ideas. But then you do get games that aren't, that are, you know, this kind of there. No new consoles until I get a 5. I feel you on that. I definitely, like, thanks to Derek, I was able to get a PlayStation 5 earlier on, but it still was a year or two before I was able to get it. And I still use my PlayStation 4. We use it in the living room for different things. And I was using my Xbox 360 in the living room before I got the PlayStation 5 and moved out my 4 because I was using it for watching, you know, streaming content and everything. So I think we are going to get a refresh this year from both of the different console manufacturers, but I think the next thing is being developed. We're fixing to get a new console from Nintendo, so it is what it is. Like, everything's going to move forward. We can't stay here in this present time, you know, with the consoles that we have, because they're just like, oh, we got to get another one out there. So we are going to get another console, and from all of them, you know, and we'll see how Xbox does. Hopefully their messaging, hopefully the things that they're doing is going to be better. But y'all let me know. Do you think it is too soon before we get another Xbox and PlayStation? Y'all let me know. But Nintendo, we need a new console for sure. Let's move into our second story of the evening. How hidden symbols were the tip of a toxic iceberg at Life is Strange dev Deck 9. Last year, developers at Deck 9, the studio behind Life is Strange, found hidden Nazi symbols in their game. Initially, they thought it was an innocent mistake, but more problematic signs emerged, including references to racist memes and hate symbols. The discovery raised concerns that these symbols were intentionally inserted as dog whistles to white supremacists. Life is Strange has been praised for its inclusive portrayals of marginalized individuals, making the presence of hate symbols even more alarming. As weeks went by, management remained silent, causing unrest among the staff who felt unsafe and unheard. This wasn't the first time Deck 9 management failed to address a toxic work culture and protect marginalized employees. Crunch and abusive leadership were prevalent, while bullying and advocates for authentic representation within the game went unchecked. Deck 9's relationship with the publisher Square Enix also faced challenge, with the pressure to meet tight deadlines and reluctance towards diversity themes. Despite the difficulties, the studio continued to work on Life is Strange series, but the growing discontent among developers is hard to ignore. So, Derek, with all this going on at Deck 9, they've made a lot of, different stuff that has been super inclusive, had a lot of different themes, a lot of different things that they've kind of put out there. What is your take on this?
It's surprising because True Colors was actually a pretty good game when it came out. So the final result doesn't tell the whole tale of the story, but I do think it does show that perseverance, that it's like, hey, no matter what's going on, we still want to put out a great product for our fans. And for a company like, yes, it's not Don't Nod, I know it's not them, but Deck 9 is an up and coming, really talented studio, and to see this is just showing that no place is off limits from toxic workplace culture. The most rampant one was at Activision with Bobby Kotick, the devil himself. So it's it is sad to hear this, and it is like weird, like how they tried to. Well, I shouldn't say weird. It is interesting how they dropped like little hints in their game about, hey, it was pretty much like sending smoke signals, like, hey, look over here. We got something. We got something to tell you. Like, look at this real quick. And I'm surprised it didn't break. I'm surprised it's breaking now, because True Colors came out when exactly? It was
a while ago.
Yeah, it was like what, 2021, 22?
Hold on, I'm looking it up. 21, September 10th, 2021.
Yeah, so 3 years ago. So I'm surprised, I'm surprised it hasn't been spoken about since, or before then, especially like with all these workplace culture things going on. But it is sad to read that that this is still happening. Like, if layoffs and studio closures aren't bad enough, we have the ones that are opening and not really, like, because I haven't heard any reports of Deck 9 laying off anybody to my knowledge. So it's like, a studio that hasn't experienced either of those things still has a big issue going on. So it is sad to see. I'm also wondering, it must be because I just got back. Sorry, I got a storm here and it almost knocked out our power, so I had to wait for my Wi-Fi to reboot. But I don't know if it was in the article, but it's like, is this a former employee of Deck 9, or is this a current one, or doesn't it say?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
And that it pretty much was saying that it wasn't addressed by management, so people felt unheard. And it goes back to management. Like, all layoffs, bad investments, all of this goes back to higher ups in companies not managing and expecting the right kind of behavior. And it's like, well, you could, it's not this, it's not that. It's like, you have to be careful when you're putting stuff in games, and Joe's like, how can you get a game out and not know their hidden symbols? Like, people can hide stuff in games. Like, there's cool Easter eggs that have been hidden that people didn't discover until 20 years later. But it's like, what nefarious things have people put in games?
Right. And also if they put it in a way that's not like really known, like if like obviously if you put like a very heinous symbol, that's widely known to the world, that's going to get caught. But
Yeah.
if you put subtle ones that like aren't well known or are very not used that often, and people aren't knowledgeable on that kind of stuff, they're going to get by. Like they'll just think, huh?
Yeah.
They might point out, huh? This looks interesting or this looks weird, but it's not offensive or anything like that. Go on, like, or at least not, that they know of.
Yeah.
So there's ways to go about it.
Yeah. And again, like to your point, it was not like, a certain symbol that we associate with like Nazis or white
Yeah.
supremacy and all of that. It was much more like obtuse things
Yeah.
that are tied to that. So I hope that they, kind of look and, make better
Yeah.
decisions, because it like if the industry was a much healthier place right now,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the developers would be like, oh, well, I can just go and get another job if they're not going to take care of this.
Yeah.
But right now, with so many people, where it's like almost 18,000 people have lost jobs between last year and this year, it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, at least I have a job. It might stink, but I at least have a job doing the thing
Yeah.
that I'm good at, that I'm trained at. I'm not having to run DoorDash or anything like that.
Right.
It's like I'm doing the thing here, but it's like, how long can you stay in a toxic work environment when
Right.
people above you are not addressing things? And, even if it wasn't, these kind of symbols in there, if
Right.
it was something else that was toxic, if it was whatever, if management isn't addressing those things and taking care of its employees,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? They're going to stop showing up to work, not physically, but mentally. They're going to stop showing up to work.
Yeah.
They're going to give less of attention to detail. They're going to put less effort in, because they see that management is doing the same thing to them. So why would you you
Yeah.
give 110% when 70 is fine enough?
Right. Exactly. So C's get degrees. So but no, and also, I mean, I wonder what's going to happen, because when this whole stuff with Activision came out. Now, yes, Bobby Kotick did eventually end up leaving, but they use scapegoats to like other people on the board to kick him out. Who is the public? Like, is Deck Nine under any kind of publishing? I know Square Enix technically does the publishing for Life is Strange series, but I don't know if Life is Strange is over Deck Nine.
I don't mind. Our studio opened with just a few employees, quickly grew. They did Cool Borders 3 and 4. Whoa, anyway. Weird. Yeah, it doesn't say. I'm trying to see if there's I think they're independently owned.
Okay. Well, hopefully, like, unless it goes all the way to the top to like the head honcho, like, unless investors want to step in and take action, hopefully, there's some swift action for the people up top, for management that were lax on handling these issues. And I know it'd be more layoffs and job losses, but these ones would be warranted.
Well, it's different between layoffs and getting fired. That's a different thing.
Yeah. I mean, true, but it's still like job, like people losing their job regardless, but these would be the right people losing their job.
Yeah, exactly. So, it comes down to, there needs to be oversight. There needs to be actual QA on things. Yeah. And it's like, especially like, because again, Deck Nine is known, like any of the Life is Strange stuff is known to be pretty like, they're pretty
liberal.
They're very, it's more of a liberal series and everything, because like the subject matter and everything deals with a lot of different parts of life or whatever. So it's like seeing this from them, was kind of a shock. Everybody's like, what?
Right. It's like how can you it's almost an oxymoron at this point. It's like, shouldn't you be not doing this since your games portray this? But I digress.
It's like, maybe a Duke Nukem game, or you know what I mean? Like, or Wolfenstein, you know what I mean?
Oh, you're terrible. Accurate, but terrible.
But I'm like, even in Wolfenstein, they don't use the symbols.
Yeah, true. That's true.
They have like a different symbol and all of that. So just saying. I'm not calling out the people at Wolfenstein or anything. I'm just like, their game revolves around Nazis and punching.
Well,
Nazis
I mean, even their newest game, it's Machine Games. Even their newest one, Indiana Jones. Guess what?
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But guys, let's talk about something that could put a pep in your step. Coffee Brand Coffee has exceptional quality coffee with no gimmicks and no politics. Customer satisfaction is on the up and up because they have nearly 4,000 verified reviews, and most of those are 5 out of 5. They've got 12 coffee blends, 12 organic teas, 3 hot cocoa flavors, and they have cold brew and K-Cups, and they also have a roasters subscription service right now, so you can go check that out. Amy has loved the teas and the coffee. She really enjoyed, she had chai tea, and she had like a medium roast. She really liked those. So freshness is guaranteed because these are hand roasted to order, and it's all in the US, so you're getting some fresh coffee up in here, guys. And you can get 5% off of your order today by using code NerdCave at checkout or the link in the description. So elevate your coffee today with Coffee Brand Coffee.
Question: did they do any Easter themed ones? Because I know they did some for like Valentine's Day, and they've done some around some of the holidays, but I don't remember if you talked about there being any Easter themed ones this time around, or maybe they didn't do one.
I'm not sure if they had any Easter things.
Interesting.
Yeah, they might have, but I didn't check into it, to be 1,000% honest.
Yeah, fair.
1,000% honest. Derek, what I've been waiting to talk about, I haven't even watched the trailer.
Me either.
So we're coming in hot and heavy with this one tonight. Star Wars Outlaws get a release date along with a new story trailer. Derek, do you want to watch the trailer and then we'll dive into?
Yes, of course.
All right, guys and gals, let's check out the Star Wars Outlaws trailer.
Each of you represents some of the most powerful criminal organizations in the galaxy. Pikes, Crimson Dawn, Hutts. It's a golden age for the underworld. The Empire controls every corner of the galaxy, but they're distracted by a rebellion that won't quit.
True.
It's an opportunity to make millions.
Kay Vess, the underworld's favorite new scoundrel.
All right.
What do you want?
Zarek Besh. They're new, rich, and lethal.
Okay.
They lost their boss Sliro, and now
Sliro.
You gone.
Not a great name.
No.
Buy your freedom.
This job, it's a death wish.
Oh.
That
Was that our
Han.
boy?
I think that was Han. Ooh, that looks nice.
And die by your reputation. You want to survive?
Oh,
Know
come on,
the
cow.
players.
You're new to this world.
What's your problem?
Come back when you're not.
Jabba, right?
Jabba!
Anything?
Let's go.
That whole crew surrounding the...
Uh-oh.
Skipping that part. For about as long as I can remember, it's just been me and Nix. Doing what we have to.
Okay, I like
to
that
survive.
the companion
This
can
job
bring
is
you
my one
weapons.
shot at
Right.
freedom. But if we're gonna pull this off, We need the right crew. And the right ship.
Short people problems.
I hire you because you are one of the best hunters in the Outer Rim.
She's more connected than you let on, Slero. Bess is mixed up in something bigger.
Always something bigger.
Always a
The
bigger
Outer
fish.
Rim
Right.
is a dangerous place.
Oh, what is that?
Okay.
Everyone is fighting for their piece
That
of the
looks like the
galaxy.
planet from episode 9.
But all
That
I
snow
want
planet.
is to live
I
free.
never watched episode 9.
So I'm gonna risk it all. Hold on, Nick!
Sarlacc?
Oh,
Oh.
Great Dragon?
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
August 30th.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, buddy.
That was pretty decent. You know, I'll say it did feel very much like a Ubisoft type of game, but the intrigue that they have, like this is going to be, this almost feels like the Amy Hennig game that never happened.
Yeah.
Like where it was like going to be like a Han Solo-esque, like dealing with like outlaws and whatnot. So this feels like the story she was going to tell probably won't be what she had,
Yeah.
you know, as great as if she was writing it, but it is like all three factions and, you know, like seeing Jabba and then seeing like the Pikes, because they, spoiling a quick hit, Kira from the Solo movie, her character will be in the game as well. They confirmed that today.
Because we got the Crimson Dawn,
Right.
which Crimson
Yeah.
Dawn is ran by none other than
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. So what if we got Darth Maul in this
Bro.
bad boy?
That'd be crazy.
Ooh.
Well, and it would make sense because who voiced him in Clone Wars?
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Witwer. So he's already had voice and experience in voicing video game characters, so it would be easy.
Yeah. So yeah, this game has not been canceled, Murdoch. This game, I think you might be thinking of KOTOR, which got indefinitely delayed. And,
yeah.
It's been kind of all over the place, which is another story we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know if Maul is.
Maul's came back and died so many times that I've lost track.
Yeah. It did look like it took place between
Empire
and Return. So, technically, he would have died at that point.
Yeah.
Because of Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, but it will be very interesting. So a few little tidbits in here. So we're playing as Kay Vess. Who's apparently a former pickpocket. I'm curious if that will come into play.
Oh yeah, that'll be the stealth part. That'll be the Assassin's Creed part of the game.
For sure. But they are going to be putting together a crew, which is going to have a lot of different parts of it and everything. But the adventure will take players to iconic and new created locations, including Tatooine, Eva, Kijimi, Canto Bight, and newly formed moon Tashara. The planets and moons are bustling with life, featuring busy cities, cantinas, and sprawling open world areas for players to explore. So I'm thinking we're going to probably get something akin to Jedi Survivor. I know Murdoch was kind of a remade Jedi Survivor. I don't think it's going to be like 100% like Jedi Survivor because we don't have any force powers here. Stealth is definitely going to be a much more bigger thing. And we're getting space battles, which we saw that in the last trailer. So thoughts on this?
Like again, very. I am intrigued by this. I am cautiously optimistic because Ubisoft games have not been hitting lately. You know what I mean? There's been some decent ones, but nothing. I think they peaked in like 2019, 2020. I know Well, I take that back. Mirage came out and it was actually
Mhm.
pretty good. And I know Lost Crown just came out. So they're trying to rewrite the ship. So I just hope
Yeah.
that they keep it building up that momentum they've been getting with that. I know they had Skull and Bones, but that was begrudgingly released. You know, the Singapore government wouldn't let that thing die.
That's why
But
I'm over here smiling.
I know. But my intrigue will be like, what other styles of combat will there be? Like we saw the space battles, we know that there's stealth, you know, the sneak around, and then we saw that there will be like firefights and whatnot. But it's like, will there be any other like? Will there be puzzle solving? Where you know, and what style of game will this be? Like, yes, it's open world, but we've seen with Ubisoft they like to make open world RPGs. So like, will dialogue
Yeah.
options play a factor? Like, because like, you know, they show the 3 factions, and you know, they showed her going to the Pike Syndicate, and they showed her going to Jabba. So it's like, can you align yourself with one of those factions, or like build relationships? And like, if you choose the wrong options, will it come back to bite you? You know what I mean? Like that's some of the stuff I'd like to know as well. But you know, they just talked about, you know, well, again, another quick hit. They announced a Ubisoft Forward for June 10th, which is the same week as, it's not the same day, but the same week as Summer Game Fest. So it's like, at that point, what will they show? Because if they're already showing this off, and I think this was just to get a release date out there so pre-orders can start flowing in.
Yeah.
But it's like, will we see this again? I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see actual gameplay at the Ubisoft Forward and everything. Because back to your point of the different organizations, Pike Syndicate, Hut Cartel, Crimson Dawn, and then we have the fourth one, which is what they created for the game, which is the Ashiga clan.
Yeah.
Which is that really poorly named Sliro.
Sliro. Sounds like sleazeball.
Yeah. So I know another gameplay thing that we saw in the first trailer was on the speeder bike.
Yes.
Like getting away from the Imperial speeder bike patrol and everything. So I think that will be part of it. There is also a wanted system with the Imperials.
I forgot about that.
So I'm wondering how, like, can we do runs of like spice, or can we like, are we doing things like that? I want to know more. Like, I don't necessarily need more story stuff. I feel like I'm feeling pretty good on that. But I'm curious where it's all going to go. And to answer the question where this takes place in the timeline, it is taking place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So last thing that I wanted to hit is it will be 3 different editions: the standard edition, the gold edition, which includes the season pass and the exclusive cosmetic items, and the ultimate edition, which includes additional cosmetic bundles and digital art book.
Ubisoft, and they like their editions. Lord have mercy.
And what's crazy is the regular edition is $70.
Yeah.
The next edition up jumps to like $109.
Ew.
Yeah, and it's like, to get the full game, you have to buy the next edition up to be able to, because there's like a Jabba the Hutt mission that's locked behind that paywall, and then one other thing. Yeah, I'm just like,
Ubisoft, like they try and do so many different new things, but then there's some things like that they still live in the Stone Age of gaming for. Like, who does lock DLC behind a paywall anymore?
Day one DLC.
Right, true. Day one DLC.
To add to it, it's day one. So, another thing that they introduced as well is if you get Ubisoft Plus, which is their subscription service for $17.99, you can get the game 3 days early and you get all the content. So they're trying to get people on the subscription model so they can make more money.
Cool. Not for me.
Yeah. So, which I think Ubisoft Plus only applies to PC from last time I checked.
Yeah. For now, then, you know, I'm surprised they haven't put that on all consoles yet, but
yeah, I'm making sure real quick. Ubisoft Plus, Plus Premium. What? I'm so
Oh, boy.
confused. Okay.
Ubisoft has tiers for their tiers. Like,
Yeah. So they have classics,
oh boy.
which is like 15 iconic games, and then you have premium, which is $17.99, and it's only for PC.
Yeah.
So you can also play via cloud with Luna, and you can play selected games on Xbox. So
Interesting.
I wonder if they kind of scoot that in with Xbox.
Good point.
That would be an interesting idea. I would be down for that.
Because didn't Xbox, like, during that whole Summer Game Fest last year, didn't they also show something at their showcase for Outlaws?
Yeah, I think so.
So that would make sense.
Yeah. I don't know. Dan says, if it's released day one, it may as well be part of the original game. You would think so, Dan.
But Ubisoft's all about that money.
Got to get that money. You got to get that money.
They used all that money to fight off Vivendi. They got to recoup their losses.
Like, I don't mind day one DLC. Like, that's like, it's like, okay, the DLC is here. And a lot of the times, like, especially Mass Effect 2, it was like a big deal that they had the Promethean day one DLC or whatever. And it was like, everybody was up in arms about it, but it was because the game had went gold. They kept working on like the extra stuff, and then it was like, okay, here's the code,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to get the day one thing. This is not the case. This is not the case. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, it's all about that money. All about that money. Just like Meghan Trainor was all about that base.
Yeah, no trouble.
No trouble. Guys, it's time for the PlayStation news.
Boop, boop.
Xbox isn't the only one rethinking console exclusives.
So, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer recently expressed concerns about the current state of the gaming industry and the need for growth. Both PlayStation and Xbox are rethinking their approach to console exclusives. PlayStation is already porting games to PC via Steam, and Xbox is expanding its release strategy to include multiple platforms. The industry is going through a recalibration with a focus on mitigating revenue losses and the impact of high-budget game development. Layoffs in the industry have accelerated this recalibration, leading to companies reevaluating their strategies and financial situations. Console exclusives are becoming less prominent as console sales forecasts are reduced, but more ways to play games are being introduced. Gamers now expect to be able to play games on a variety of devices, leading to a broader strategy by console holders. So this is all to say, like, yes, it seems like an Xbox article, like not belonging in the PlayStation news, but Xbox is also making a point. It's like, hey, we're not the only ones thinking this. Sony is thinking about this as well, which, okay, I know let's see, about 15 years ago, exclusives were pretty much like the toast of the town. Like, if you didn't have like a banging exclusive, no one was interested in your console. Now, because of the way, like it says, the industry has shifted, and now more and more people are realizing, not just gamers but business people as well, are like, from the business side, we can make a lot more money putting our stuff on more platforms. Like, we don't have to put it everywhere, but it's like, hey, PC has a high install base. Let's start there. And we're seeing, how many times have we seen an influx of cash and like a renewed life in some of the older games that they ported to PC, like God of War 2018, like even Days Gone, like saw a resurgence, like with it coming to PC. And with Xbox, they ported Sea of Thieves is about to come out at the end of the month. And it's like, again, spoiling a PlayStation Quickie. It's going to apparently this is the litmus test for putting more games like they've already released a couple other games out on PlayStation, but apparently Sea of Thieves, because it was so widely popular for them, is the litmus test to see as like, all right, can we sustain or do what other exclusives from our library do we want to put on PlayStation or Switch or both? But it's also for the gamers. It's just like, man, like, especially now that crossplay is a thing, like, exclusives don't even matter. Like, yes, it does have a place. It's more about the studios that make the games than the platforms you play the games on. Like, it doesn't matter that, and I know Sony people still kind of bang their chest and be like, look at all the plethora of, and to their credit, they do have a bunch of story-based exclusives that have, won multitude of awards, Game of the Year awards, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because people just want to either play with their friends or just experience well-written story-based games. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. If it's something that intrigues you, you want to play it at something, So, and now they're trying to, like, again, I don't know if Sony will play fair with Xbox, like Xbox is reciprocated with them and put God of War or Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima on Xbox. But again, you can play it on PC. Like, I think the only way that Sony would play that ball would be putting it on PC and letting it be on PC Game Pass. That I don't think it'll ever be on an Xbox platform. But I don't know, with the way, like, because I used to be kind of that, little snub, like from the PS3 and PS4 era, then like, an Xbox exclusive, that's cute. It's not Gears of War, I don't care. But, but now it's just like, who cares? Like, just if it's a good game, play it how you want to, play it where you want to. Like, let's just be it's weird because it sounds like very liberal thinking, but it's also the truth. It's like we're in an age where we have a plethora of options to play games. Why should we be limited to just one option?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see PlayStation games on Xbox.
No.
The reason why I think that is, it's just not worth it.
No.
At this point.
Well, if Jim Ryan was running it, he'd be like, I just want to block your merger. So
yeah, like you said, every time we see a PlayStation exclusive go on to the PC, it gets a renewed life. PC makes sense. Xbox, like, there's not enough of an install base for them to put in that effort to make a game run on an Xbox console. That means dev kits. That means time put into doing that. When porting, and again, we're not game developers. We don't know how difficult it is to port something, but I know it's not just flip a switch. Porting it to a PC, I feel like, is less limiting than it is going to Xbox, which has a totally different hardware structure than the PlayStation does.
Right.
So it makes sense going to PC. Will it be day one? No. I feel like we're going to get, the cycle is going to be a lot quicker. Like, think about Last of Us Part 1 remaster. It was a much quicker going from the console to the PC version. It was like a few months. I feel like that is going to be kind of the norm going forward, and it might be a month, whatever. I don't think it's going to be new things that are going to happen like that. It could get to that point, whatever. It is what it is. As long as Sony keeps making awesome games, that's all I care about at this point, because it's like, I don't want to see more studios getting closed because of small thinking.
Right.
That's my biggest thing. I like Pixel Opus. I miss it. You know what I mean? It's like,
true.
It's like, I'm tired of seeing that happen because of small thinking, and live services is not the way.
No.
Clearly, it's
This
not,
is not the way.
Yeah. So we've already seen it, and PlayStation, like, going with Steam makes sense. Maybe they go with Epic as well, have something, whatever. But I don't think we're going to be getting anything past that. Like, I know we got the Portal, which has sold really well because it's pretty affordable, but you already have to have a PlayStation 5.
Right.
So it's like, okay.
Hey, at least it's not like some technology that's you have to buy a console for, then pay something that's more expensive than a console on top of that.
Yeah, the PlayStation Virtual Reality 2, not a great thought process, but it's like super expensive to build, but it's not that smart. So I think this is the way of the future. I know we kind of scoffed at Xbox back in the day when it's like, oh, we're putting our games on PC. I'm like, what are you doing? That's so
Right.
stupid. And then Game Pass day one. We're still seeing how it all plays out, but I love Game Pass. It is
Oh yeah,
it is still the best investment in gaming. So
correct.
let's move on though to another Star Wars story. Sony reportedly wants nothing to do with Star Wars KOTOR remake.
Interesting. So, Sony reports suggest, or recent reports suggest that Sony wants, quote, nothing to do with the upcoming Star Wars KOTOR remake. Jeff Grubb initially claimed that the project was dead, but it turns out that it is still alive and well at Saber Interactive. Despite Sony's disinterest, Saber remains determined to bring the remake to life. The statement made by Jeff Grubb on Twitter indicates that he trusts Saber Interactive's commitment to the project. And the original announcement was made in 2021, and it will be and it's supposed to be developed for the PS5 and PC platforms. This is very much a recent weeks have caused like very interesting coffee roundtable discussions because we have ever since they had a rough patch, and then Saber was like broke off from Embracer Group,
laid off people.
Yep, laying off people. They've been trying to, they fought and took KOTOR with them, and ever since then it's like, all right, mum's the word, and now it's like, what's the deal? Is it still on? Is it still? And they're like, yeah, it's still on, and now Sony's like, I don't know if we want to be associated with you. Like, I don't know if that comes off as petty, but now you wonder, it's like, because again, like we just talked about exclusives, it doesn't matter. I would have found a way to play it on, Xbox or PlayStation, no matter where it came. But I know it was a big get for PlayStation to have like a very like big old school RPG from back in the day on its platform for a time. And now I think that may be dwindling. I think if it does come out, I think they nix the exclusivity, because if this is true and Sony's like, yeah, I don't know if we want to do this exclusive deal with you, and then they're like, all right, well, we'll still make it on PS5, but now we want to make it on Xbox. And okay, cool, thanks, bye. So I think that ruined the exclusivity chances, but it doesn't matter, because if it ends up being great, who's going to care?
Yeah, I remember PlayStation execs getting shown what Saber had been working on, and it might not have been Saber at first. I can't remember if they were.
It was Aspire.
Okay, so they got shown the game, and they were like, "This is trash," and then it got shelved. Then Saber picked it up. I think PlayStation is making a smart business choice here, because a lot of times when there's exclusive, that means there's money being exchanged.
True.
So it going from Aspire to Saber, and it's like, this game's never going to come out. They're making the smart decision because, we look at Sony Bend, we look at Media Molecule. These are games, the Last Guardian. These are games that have spent years. 2021, it got announced. How long was it in production before then?
True.
Things that have been spending years in development and gestation, and it's like they've got to make the money that they've got. They got to make it work.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna keep. You know what? I say not to beat a dead horse. No, I'm gonna beat this dead horse. Skull and Bones. Look at it. Like it was in development. It was just up and down for like almost a decade. It felt like trying to get this game out, and it did. And now it's pretty much a fart in the wind. At this
Dead
point,
in the water.
There you go. It's nothing but skull and bones at this point. But yeah, so I think that's another recent case that fuels Sony's fire. And it's like, yeah, we don't want to be associated with that anymore. To your point, it's like we need you to actually have something tangible and have a like actual roadmap, not just basically like, well, we're going to see where it is in like a couple years, and then we'll reassess and see if we need more time. No, we need you out soonish, like next couple of years from when we announce you.
Yeah, like in case in point, they have an exclusive RPG that's based off of an older game, Final Fantasy.
True.
But they have a track record that has already been proven. And it's like, okay, we can wait however long between these. And they've been selling gangbusters. But it's like, can we trust Saber to put out an amazing game? I'm not saying Saber does not make good games,
Yeah.
but this has got to be on the level of Final Fantasy VII's remake and rebirth. And
Whether it's fair or unfair.
yeah, and it's like, if I was Sony, if I was Shuhei Yoshida, full of grace, everybody full of grace, I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna put my eggs in a different basket here. I'm gonna bet on a horse that I know can win a race, and it's like, I'm gonna go with a first party. I'm gonna put more funding into a Santa Monica. I'm gonna what is Insomniac doing? Let's go, let's get some more people onto, the Wolverine game. I like, that's the smarter play than going after something like that.
I remember watching that documentary from God of War 2018, and I can imagine if Shu was seeing this right now, he'd be treated like when he saw Cory Barlog, and when God of War 2018 was in early development, it's like, just looks at him and is like, what is this trash? Cory was like, it was so humbling here, like, for Cory. It's like, he thought he had a good idea. It's like, well, maybe I need to reevaluate this. And then he got a game of the year out of it. So, we just need a more honest people like Shuhei Yoshida to tell you if a game is worth it or not.
Yeah. And it goes back to good managers. That's literally like good leadership will direct a ship in the right way. That's why it's called leadership. It's time for the PlayStation Quickies.
So, starting off, the team who hacked, it's almost like the white hat hackers that, end up working for the U.S. government. Team who hacked the PlayStation Portal to run PSP games offline helped Sony fix the exploit. Sony reportedly has smaller first-party games due in 2024, including Astrobot. Hey, look, if Astrobot was banging. If you give me another one like that, I'll buy it. Medieval PS1, PS Plus premium release hinted at as trophy list appears online. Some Stellar Blade news. Stellar Blade dev gifted its 260 staff a PS5 following the game's PS Showcase appearance in 2021. See, in a world, this is wholesome, because in a world where everyone's losing their jobs, this is a team that's taking care of their people. Stellar Blade is currently the PlayStation Store's #1 pre-ordered game. Stellar Blade director confirms plans for free updates, including costumes and New Game Plus. The director also says the industry needs single-player games that have an ending.
Yes.
Correct. Stellar Blade has gone gold ahead of its April 26th release. Sea of Thieves on PS5 will run at 120 frames per second and supports crossplay. Sea of Thieves closed beta is set for April 12th, that is this upcoming Friday, and progress will carry over to the full game. Sea of Thieves launch of PS5 is reportedly the game Microsoft is closely looking at regarding future Xbox titles coming to PlayStation. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's director has been promoted to Square Enix's executive staff. Helldivers 2 gives all players a special commemorative cape from Malevelon Creek Memorial Day. Players have defeated the entire Automaton faction in Helldivers 2, but then it returns a few days later. Rumor, SOCOM, a game we haven't heard in quite some time, the hopes for it gather pace as SOCOM project appears on late actor's resume. Destiny 2, the Final Shape gameplay preview, showcases new Guardian abilities and teases what's coming in the Final Shapes story. And lastly, Sony Santa Monica opens 24 jobs for its new project, says God of War Ragnarok combat experience is preferable.
Marnek says, remember the creek.
Right.
Now, Derek, would you play a new SOCOM?
I know
if it's not Call of Duty-ified. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want a Call of Duty. I want SOCOM.
Right. And I mean, I saw bits of gameplay here and there. I never actually got around to playing a SOCOM game. So it would be intriguing if done right. I would want it, obviously make it, like you said, make it SOCOM, make it authentic. Don't just copy and paste from other shooter games. Like, if you have to do one, do it like Titanfall, essentially, like make it like an engaging story. Don't just, poop something out, essentially. But yeah, I think it's been a long enough period because I know we didn't get any SOCOM games on the PlayStation 4, so it's been an entire console life cycle without a SOCOM game. I think it's time now. The question I have is, would it just be a remake / port, or would it be an actual like new game in the series?
I would want something from the ground up. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a port or anything like that. Like you can refresh the series, whatever.
Mhm.
Give me a good story. Like I remember playing the first SOCOM.
Yeah.
I didn't play any of the later ones, but I remember playing the first one.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time you got like a realistic kind of, not on the level of like Tarkov, which is way more
Yeah.
realistic these days, but it felt different than anything else because we had some Call of Duties, but Call of Duty was not the big dog then. It was Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
So it was like the first time getting something that just felt different. It was modern. Everything else was World War II. So I'm interested. Let's see what they can do with it. But I definitely want to know more about some SOCOM and this God of War Ragnarok combat experience.
Yeah. And see, I was thinking, my first thought was when I saw it's preferable, I'm like, is this the next game, God of War game they're working on? But then this is a new project, and I'm like, So you would think, obviously it's not going to be cut and paste, but you would think by that being preferable that it's going to be some type of hack and slash or hand-to-hand combat type of game.
Or could it be a game that's just Loki and Agrabota?
That would be cool, but again, it's we're arguing semantics here, but the wording says new project, so trust me.
Does it mean?
Trust
like,
me. Just keep working on God of War. Just keep nailing it. As long as you're working there, Corey Barlog. At the same time, I don't want to get my hopes up. I want to be realistic about this. Is like, I feel like it's going to be just a new IP.
Well, it would say new IP, not new project, because a new game is a new project. Anytime they're like, "Oh, we got a new IP," they like bang that drum.
That's
they
true.
bang that drum. Any developer's like, "We got a new IP!" Ah,
I mean, look, you talked about it a few weeks ago with Sony Ben's new project.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I feel like it's in the wheelhouse at least of some
Yeah.
God of War. If they're wanting combat experience that is like that.
True. True. We'll only time will tell.
Only time will tell. And Stellar Blade doing all these great things, but Stellar Blade's still so long away. But it's not a long way away?
The quick hits.
The Patreon quick hits, because they're brought to you by our wonderful patrons. You can go support the Nerd Cave and help us to continue to make awesome shows just like this one, Eat, Sleep, Anime, Car Thoughts, and so much more. Keep the lights and the mics on by becoming a part of the ship, part of the crew over at patreon.com/nerdcave, and help us out. Go get a tier. Go toss us a few dollars. If you can't toss us a few dollars, join on the free tier so you get some cool updates.
So, do it.
Let's do it. Patreon quick hits.
So first up, Ubisoft announces its next Ubisoft Forward for June 10th. Fans are hoping for Splinter Cell remake news at the Ubi Forward. Hollow Knight Silksong rated in South Korea, available to wishlist on Xbox, which could finally signal a release date in sight. Respawn apologizes to Apex Legends players for a bug that caused them to lose their earned and purchased content. Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is coming to PC with a better frame rate and higher resolution. With Black Ops Gulf War waiting in the wings, Treyarch confirms it has moved on from Modern Warfare Zombies development. Xbox confirms Tamim Antoniades is no longer with Ninja Theory. Interesting. Relic Entertainment announces layoffs a week after going independent. Palia Dev lays off 35% of its workers only a few months after beta release. Roblox head says they're not exploiting child labor. The money kids can earn making Roblox games is a gift, actually. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 locked to 30 frames a second on Series X and S, according to VFX director. New Power World update includes first raid boss, PAL and base changes, and more. Flint Treasure of Oblivion is a turn-based tactical RPG set in a world of piracy, and probably will still be better than Skull and Bones. Gamers mostly played older games like GTA 5 and Fortnite in 2023. Dragon Quest series producer reassigned at Square Enix. Still no new info on Dragon Quest 12. Former Switch exclusive Front Mission 2 remake marches to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC on April 30th. Troy Baker shoots down claims that he voices Jason in GTA 6. Final Fantasy Tactics fans take note as Yoshi P says it's, quote, probably time that we do a new one. CD Projekt Red issues a cheeky dig at Ubisoft's quadruple A label for Skull and Bones. Sonic creator Yuji Naka returns to social media and accuses former Dragon Quest producer Yu Miyake of lying. Amazon's Fallout TV show has been renewed for season 2 before the first episode has even aired. And as you're watching this show, they actually moved up the release date to today. So all episodes of Fallout are available to stream on Amazon right now. Fallout TV show release. I already covered that one. Got ahead of myself. 27,000 Call of Duty accounts were banned over the weekend by Activision. New Starfield DLC-sized mod lets you create entire colonies, build mechs, and more. Saber Interactive CEO pulls back the curtain on joining and leaving Embracer. And also, the boss doesn't think that $70 games are sustainable. Gearbox Publishing has officially rebranded as Arc Games. Motive Studio to work alongside EA's wider Battlefield teams. Iron Man game hits, quote, major internal milestone, confirms Motive Studio boss. Battlefield 2042 Season 7 will be its last as Connected Battlefield Universe enters full production. Star Wars Outlaws physical versions will require an internet connection to install the game. Outlaws will also feature Lady Kira, which was Emilia Clarke's character from the Solo movie. Rumor, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake has been completely overhauled from the ground up. Disney Speedstorm Golden Passes must now be purchased directly, cannot be earned using in-game tokens. Dredge live action film announced. Avatar: The Last Airbender skins now available in Fortnite. Former Halo and Destiny lead working on Unreal Engine 5 competitive multiplayer game. And lastly, World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic sets release date for May 20th.
They just need to put down the Sands of Time remake. I love Sands of Time.
Right.
It is my favorite Prince of Persia that's ever been made.
Mm-hmm.
But just let it die. Please. Just let it die.
Let it die. Let it die.
Let it shrivel up and die. Like, please. Like, I'm begging you. Stop the madness. The Singapore government will save that too. Don't worry. Yeah, it feels like it. You gotta love CD Projekt Red, taking a stab at Ubisoft. Now that like
Cyberpunk is good.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's good. They can do that, but it's like like
you weren't that far. You about to say, don't act like y'all weren't in that same boat. You may have not called Cyberpunk a quadruple A, but y'all were touting it like the next GTA.
It is like when your dead father's brought back to life by a necromancer.
That's oddly specific. Dan, what you got to explain?
I feel like something like that happened in Sands of Time. Like they were
probably true.
It's been a long time since I played it, so
yeah.
But there you go. Ubisoft Forward. Do you think it's a bust or a must?
What? Is it
like the Ubisoft Forward?
Like the event itself?
Is it a bust or is it a must see?
There's no telling automatically, like anything with a Just Dance, like overpaid for promotion is already a bust in my opinion. But
just
I don't know.
Last year's, how bad that weird, in a hotel ballroom, the quality was so bad.
Listen, I forgot about it. Listen, it was already removed from my memory because it was so traumatic that I don't remember it until you bring it up. It's like, bro, let me forget it. At least Aisha Tyler got better over time. You know what I mean?
She did. 100%. So we'll see what kind of production value it has. I know I definitely won't be watching it live. I will.
I think the script will be a bust, but I don't know. I feel like the games they show there are hit and miss. A lot of it's always going to be. They try and balance it out, but it's going to be mostly stuff you don't care about.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. That is the episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with more video game news that you need to know. This has been Zach.
And hi, Goblin King Gilgamesh.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.